Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to learn all about watercolor pencils. I have this beautiful set of 48 colors with me, but don't worry about the colors and all. If you have only one watercolor pencil with you, it's sufficient to learn all about watercolor pencils. So let's learn. Grab one watercolor sheet, whatever you have. I am using 300 GSM watercolor sheet, and grab one watercolor pencil, and that is sufficient to learn all the tips, tricks and techniques about watercolor pencils. So we are going to do some rough work in the rough sheet, and I'm going to cover one technique at one time, and we are going to follow that particular technique to create some beautiful flowers in the main sheet. So first way is simple. You just need to identify how much pressure you need to get some color pigments in your sheet. So more pressure you will apply, the more pigment you can see. The less pressure you will apply, the less pigment of color you can see. You can see the upper area has more pigmented, then the middle section has less, and as we are going down I'm keeping things very light. So something like this you can do. So understand how much pressure you need for how much pigments of color into your sheet. Now let's draw some simple flowers. I usually don't like to use only watercolor pencil without water, because these are the watercolor pencils, so I think water is needed. But let's see what we can do with watercolor pencil itself without using any water in it. So apply more pressure, apply less pressure to create some simple flowers. You can use this technique if you have some smaller element, but for the bigger element I don't think so. Only watercolor pencil works well, but you can do something like this to create some flower fillers. So I'm using different colors. I'm using orange color, black color for the ovary of the flower, and green color for the leaves and all. Now let's learn how we can add water to blend all these colors together to get very nice and vibrant color out of it. So I'm going to repeat the same thing what I did earlier. So based on your pressure, keep one more section having same kind of thing, like more pigment in the upper section. As you're going down, you are applying less pressure into your sheet. Now how to blend all this color using water. So if you are trying to blend the color from the upper section which has more pigment and going down which has less pigment, you can do it section by section, it's fine. But sometime you end up having same color pigments throughout. So something like this, you can see the more pigment on the upper section, less pigments on the lower section, but these are quite same. So what you can do, rather than going from upward to downward, start from the less pigmented color. In our case it's downward, so I'm going from downward to the upward direction, from less pigmented section to the more pigmented section, something like this. And you can blend it like this, and as you can see this is blended properly as compared to the first one. So always start with the lighter section first. Now let's learn how you can use this particular technique to create some flowers. So I'm creating two flowers here. I'm going to show you one more technique later on. So let's draw a simple flower. You don't need to copy my drawing. You can simply create any structure or pattern, or you can simply create a rectangle or a round shape or a triangle to learn all these things. It's not necessary to create flowers only. To learn this, you can simply create a simple leaf as well. It's totally fine to learn. So I'm creating these two flowers with the help of purple color, having different perspective in it. If you want to learn how we can draw flowers in different perspective, I have created multiple videos in the past which you can refer. Now we are going to do the same thing. So I'm applying more pressure into the edges. And you can think about these things by your own, like in which area you want more pigment and in which area you want less pigments. So as I'm going down, I'm keeping the things lighter. So same thing I'm going to repeat for all the 4 petals that we have for this particular flower. More pigments on the edges, then going downwards, having less pigments, applying less pressure to create something like this. Very simple, you just need little bit of practice. If you are an absolute beginner, then also you can do the same things what I'm doing here. Now try to blend it with the help of clean water from downward to upward direction, or from lighter section to the darker section. As soon as we use water, you can see the color is more vibrant and smooth, but we can see the little texture of pencil as well at the background. Sometimes it's totally depend on your sheet as well and your quality of watercolor pencil as well. So you might end up having different result based on your sheet and pencil, but the techniques are same and similar, so you can identify which one is working best for yourself. Now as you can see, we're done with all these 4 petals, and we can see the beautiful transition of colors into it. Now let's learn how we can blend 2 color together. So make sure you are using 2 color which goes well with each other, like yellow, orange, red go really well with each other. You can use pink, purple, violet, those kind of colors as well. So I'm using this pink and blue color. So either you can use more pigment for both, or you can use less pigment for one and more pigment for another. And let's blend it one by one. So I'm blending first blue color, and then I'm blending purple color. Once you will blend all these 2 colors, then try to blend the color with the help of clean water and damp sheet. Do not use more water, otherwise you will end up having same color throughout the section. You can do the same thing for less pigment and more pigment section, and then blend it smoothly. So something like this also you can do for your flowers. Now let's do this particular flower having 2 different colors in it. So first I'm using purple color. For this particular petal, my purple color is primary, and I am going to add little bit of blue color in between. So let's add blue color as well. And you can think like in which area you want more blue, in which area you want more purple. Those things you can define for yourself. Now with the help of clean water, just try to blend everything. You can see it blends beautifully. Sometimes we are not able to achieve this using watercolor, so in case this pencil is more suitable for you to paint, you can use these pencils as well. And I'm going to repeat this for all the petals in this particular flower. Sometimes I'm using more blue, sometimes I'm using more purple, but it's totally fine. And always make sure you are blending all these with the help of clean water, and try to clean your brush in between so that you will not mess up with the colors. I always try to keep my brush clean and always try to use clean water. Now we're done with this particular flower as well. Now let's learn one more technique. This is dry on wet techniques. My sheet is wet and I'm going to apply dry color into it. So you can wetten your sheet like this in any shape and then apply pencil. If your sheet is wet and you're using pencil, it's quite smooth, it's very smooth. far different than using a dry sheet. And as you can see, it is little bit spreading also, so you will get little blurry texture, something like this. I usually like to do this particular technique when I need little fluffier or soft texture. So let's do this particular technique for the ovary of the flower. So I'm applying water and then I'm adding little dots around it. It will spread a little bit and gives you a very nice, smooth and fluffy texture in the center. So this technique goes really well when you do something like this, like if you want to paint a bumblebee. I think this technique is amazing. So this is the one technique wherein you can wetten your sheet and then apply colors into it. So let's do one more thing here. So I have applied water and then with the help of pencil I'm drawing one leaf here. It's quite smooth like a butter, so it's very smooth. Also do some background effect, spreading some color into it. So I'm spreading color. I'm also using clean water to get some background here, and then you can also apply more texture around it, or else you can create some pattern for yourself. Like I am trying to create some leaves in these two particular section, so I'm just outlining the pattern of leaf, and then I am going to apply water in this particular area so that we can see where we are applying water. So apply water in all the leaves, and then you can directly use watercolor pencil. So either you can use two different color to get two different shades of green in one single leaf. That is also something you can do, and you can fill leaves fully like we're doing here. We're filling the leaf section fully, or else you can just add a shading kind of effect. So I'm adding a little shade of green, keeping negative space. I like this particular technique to paint flower as well, wherein you just need to add little bit of shading like we're doing for the leaves, so that you can also get a very nice negative space as well. Now as you can see in this particular section wherein we have applied water, we are getting a background texture as well because of the pencils. So now it's time to learn one more technique. This is wet on dry sheet. So I'm wetting the lead and then applying the color to create some flowers. If you need more color, then you can wet the area continuously to get more pigment. So let me show you one with the darker shade, and as you can see the difference of these two, this is quite smoother as compared to the previous one wherein we have applied pencil first and then water. But using this technique you can directly get some smoother background for the flowers, leaves, or whatever you are trying to paint. So I'm applying water into my pencil lead and then trying to create some flower here. You can also control your color pigments based on how much water you are applying or how much pigment you are getting out of your pencil, but you will definitely get some smoother effect. And if you are trying to get some smaller element, you can definitely use this particular technique. It's quite simple, and you can also do the same thing for the stems, smaller leaves, those kind of things in between. So I'm using this green color, and this is called wet on dry sheet, and this is the first technique for wet on dry. I'm going to show you one more technique wherein we are using wet on dry. Now let's create some ovary of the flower, and using the same technique you can also do one more thing, like spreading color to get some background texture. So I'm going to spread some color here, so just try to blend color and brush like this and sprinkle some color into your sheet, and it gives you a very nice effect of little dots of color around your painting. Now let's learn one more technique wherein we have wetted the lead, putting my pencil into the water. So what I did, I forgot to show in the video, but what I did, I have wetted my watercolor lead while dipping into the water. So if you do directly, you will get something like this, but if your lead is wet, you will get some smoother texture and some bright texture like this. So this technique is quite good if you want to create some stems or some smaller elements like this. Usually people don't like this particular technique, but I like to draw something like this wherein we have smaller elements and stems. So keep dipping your pencil into the water so that you can get more pigments of color, and then you can draw something like this. I have created few strings and few green elements around this string, and I'm going to repeat the same process. Now you can also keep checking like how much water you need into your lead. So keep dipping your pencil into the water, and then you can create something like this, a small flower popping from the green element. I forgot to capture these things into the camera, but just try to dip the pencil into the water. A very nice technique if you really want to paint something smaller like this and vibrant like this. Now we have learned until now so many techniques, around 4 to 5. Let me show you one more wherein you can create your own palette, just like watercolor, to paint something from watercolor pencil. So just apply much pressure and create sections like this having different colors into it, whatever color you like, and then blend it with the help of water to get some color out of it. Before that, I'm trying to create some stems after dipping my pencil into the water in these two areas, and then I have two sections of purple and blue, or maybe violet and blue, and because I have mixed this into water, I can get these colors into my brush and to paint something like this, like we generally do using watercolor. So as you can see, I'm creating these small flower from my palette itself, you can say, but do it as soon as you apply water into your color. Otherwise, once it gets dry, you will not able to get color out of it. So likewise, this is the very nice technique if you really like to blend two colors just like we do using watercolor. So let me create some more colors here. So I'm also blending purple and blue, different shade of blue, and then applying water. So I have 4 different colors into my palette. Now I'm grabbing all these colors to create some flowers, just like watercolor. So I think watercolor pencil is quite good if you really love to paint and you are struggling with painting these flowers. Now let's grab all these colors in between to get some transition of color into your flower. So I have created one big flower here having different shades of color in it. Or else you can also get some color using this particular technique that we have learned earlier. So just wet the lead and try to blend color into it. So this is also you can do. So these are the techniques around watercolor pencil which you can utilize to draw or to paint something like this. And I hope this video is helpful for you guys. I hope all these watercolor pencil techniques gives you a new perspective to paint something beautiful in your artwork. So please do let me know if you guys have any feedback for me, and thank you so much for all your love and support and watching my videos. See you guys in the next video.